Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Gabe, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about probably the scariest thing that could happen to your Porsche GT car. That includes the GT4, the GT3, and the GT3RS 991.1 and 2, and the 981.
Yes.
And that is the strut tower failure. And today I have with me Jason and Danny, who have both experienced this with their own cars. Danny with his GT4, beautiful, speed yellow?
It's racing yellow. It's a lighter version of it.
Okay. And then Jason's RS, that's right behind us here. So yeah, let's listen to the stories and see what happened. First off, we got Danny. I'm going to play his video right now so you guys can see exactly what happened, because he has the moment when it happened on track. Let's check it out. Okay, so as you guys saw, pretty fucking violent hit right there at Streets. This happened how long ago?
This was 2021, back in May of 2021. Were we at a race car party? I believe we were at a race car. No, it wasn't a race car party. It was Zuffenhausen event. We were doing Streets of Willow. We were running, what was that, clockwise configuration. So this happened, as you saw in the video, after the bowl. You're technically headed downhill when you're going clockwise. Yeah, so it's like the little blind crest. It's like a right hand sweeper. And this was before the track was unpaved, so I pretty much put the two wheels all the way to the right to kind of get like a straight run down that, what would be like the chicane in a sense. The waterfall.
I heard the sweeper of death too.
The sweeper of death. So I don't really know the name of it, but
it's basically when you exit the bowl, you come all the way down the straight downhill, and then you drop off the crest and get even further downhill. But there's kind of like a chicane in there, so you have to put in some steering angle.
Exactly. So I was trying to get the wheels as close to the right as possible to get a straight run down. Obviously, you saw in the video, it was a little too close, and before it was unpaved, there was like a giant, nice sized ditch.
There's potholes everywhere.
Yeah,
before
there's potholes
paved,
everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Anybody that's ran Streets of Willow are very familiar. So I put that front wheel. I was going a little bit over 110, and then I dipped that front right wheel into that ditch, and you pretty much see the car bottom out. And it was a pretty violent hit, to the point the car didn't feel unstable or anything when I got back to all four on the track, and then I kind of just stopped to check it out. And sure enough, my surprise, I opened the frunk, and there it was, just busted open.
Yeah, when you told me, I thought you were bullshitting. I was like, nah, there's no fucking way. And I walk over there, and sure enough, dude, that shit was clean cracked. Jagged edges everywhere. That was pretty rough.
Yeah, man, those strut towers are made of fucking recycled soda cans or something, man.
It's really thin once you take a look at it under there.
Yeah, it
it's
just
really
popped
fucking
clean
thin.
off. It was hanging by a thread. I was sick to my stomach, and that was pretty much it. The car, it's a known fact. If you guys look at it, like through rent lists and stuff like that, anybody that's familiar with Porsche forums, a lot of people have come to the conclusion that when you lower the ride height on the stock dampers with the stock spring rates, I mean, those are pretty soft in a sense for our cars, especially if you're doing more than a few track events a year or whatever. But yeah, it was enough to bottom out that wheel, and I'm assuming it wasn't enough to compress or anything like that and bring the chassis back up, and it just, all that force went straight into that strut tower, and that was that.
Yeah, pretty much, like you said on Rent List, everything that I've read, and you guys as well, and from experience, is OEM dampers that are lowered. And that's like one of the first things people do with these cars when you first get them, because they're coilovers from factory, so you can go ahead and lower the car from factory to get that nice ride height. And
Danny, you're running smaller wheels than OEM, right?
Yeah, so that's another thing. I was running 19-inch wheels, so that brings down the car even
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit. You know, so I don't know. I would think, or hopefully it was engineered to, I would have preferred to have a cracked wheel or something else, suspension component, versus the actual chassis
damage,
just having through. But I got somewhat lucky. The strut, I've seen other instances in other cars where the actual strut shoots through the hood and it damages all kinds of other body panels. So, I mean, mine was just a clean cut. The force actually made the hood pop open on its own. So, but yeah, there was no damage whatsoever, just pretty much on the chassis.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy to see firsthand. And then that happens, right? And then Jason buys his RS, what, like half a year later?
Yeah, August last year.
How many miles on this?
Bought it with 50 miles. Right now there's 9,100 miles on it.
50 fucking miles. That's all it had. So he still had to complete the break-in process before he could take it to the track. And let's get into your story now.
Yeah, it was December 2021. And it was at Bunwillow, CW13, coming over sweeper, coming down, where a lot of people, you know, will snap oversteer. I guess on that curb on the left-hand side, just went off a little too much. Then felt a big thud, like 4 codes popped up. My straight on my steering wheel was a complete 180. Then I was like, oh, I got a puncture, I got something. So I limped back to the pits. I took the Mazda Star route before the S's, just, you know, to make more room to get back safely. Then Danny was there. I got back to the pits. I was like, oh, I have a puncture or something. Then everyone's like, oh, coming to check out the car. Then we noticed a bulge in the hood as well. Then
in the carbon fiber
the carbon fiber Y-stock hood. You can actually, in the hood, we'll insert some clips. The hood is scratched up. Thankfully, no damage.
Yeah.
The plastic covers inside are still shattered, but it's functional with the NACA duct still. But yeah, we popped it open. Then Danny knew right away, since, you know, it just happened to him as well. Then we were just all in disbelief, you know, on a .2 RS out of all cars.
How many miles did it have it at that time?
3,000-4,000.
Yeah, I mean, obviously mileage doesn't really matter with something like that, but
at that point I had like 10 track days on it already too.
Yeah. I remember that day as well. I was in Brazil, and you know, you guys all had gone out to the track as a group, so you know, keeping me posted on, you know, oh, he ran this, he ran that, and then Austin calls me. Or was it you? I can't remember who it was.
It was one of us for sure.
It was like, hey, Jason broke his strut tower. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, it's just a joke, right? He's like, no, I'm serious. I'm like, nah, he's fucking playing. And then he's like, no, I'll go get Jason right now. He gets you. You tell me. And I'm still in disbelief.
We had a blanket over the car. So, like, you know.
Walk me over there. And when I saw it, bro, I was like... That shit stabbed me in the heart. I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
we threw a blanket on it right away because
just to hide it.
People right away, they bring out their phones, they start taking pictures of people's mishaps.
I remember that day was on a Friday or something. Then race car party had a doubleheader that weekend. Then I know Danny, you went. Then the whole paddock basically knew already.
Word had got out
like within 24 hours
the
of
track
it.
community is fairly small, and there's a leak somewhere, and then boom, everybody kind of hey, I heard this happened to your RS. And yeah, man. Hey, Jason, your strut tower actually ripped clean
off the whole top cover, just straight clean cut all around.
And yours was still attached on the back.
Mine was attached actually on the left hand side towards the wheel, where there's like a strip. I don't know if it's some kind of welded like
where
plastic
the
or
frame
something.
is welded together.
And that's the only piece that it was like barely hanging on. That's why his wheel, when he came in, his wheel was like caved in because the strut had already gone
like
through.
Massive camber, like
20 degrees of camber.
It was bad, you know. So mine was still somewhat limpable, you know, to drive, but it was
I shouldn't have driven mine.
Of course not. You should have got towed, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You got the car safely into the pits, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and so Jason had also...
I was on 19s, the E88s that are on your car right now.
The E88s that are on the car right now, the gold ones. and you lowered the car as well
yeah.
on OEM suspension, and the part numbers are the same. So you can buy that suspension, put it on a GT3 and also a GT4. So it's all the same spring rate, same valving, same damper. Everything is the same. Yeah, man, that's crazy. So, Danny, what was the process in getting it fixed? Because your car's barely... I mean, it's been back for a couple months now, but you've been trying to get it all dialed in with everything.
Yeah, so my car, it was sitting at a body shop. I'm going to drop the name because I don't want anybody taking their car there and have it sitting there, but it was Posi Performance. I don't recommend anybody go there.
Damn.
But
damn.
But yeah, man, the car, they had it there sitting for 6 months, claiming that the part was unorderable and that they couldn't do anything without that part. But really, only a Porsche approved shop can order that actual strut part.
Just a basically stamped or aluminum sheet metal part.
Yeah. So whatever.
It's literally like the crown, the whole strut tower crown. It gets welded right back in.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. They didn't even have the jig, which is what they use to make sure the frame is straight. So I don't know what their plan was, but they pretty much just tried to hit me with storage fees, and I was just like, nah, man, that's not gonna work out. I got bar involved. Long story short, I got my car out. It was a wrap. And I took it to this other wonderful shop down the street. From the point that I dropped off my car there to when they fixed it, it was maybe 3 months, 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
So it was like around, I picked up the car around December, I think, and then I got it back in February of this year, 2022. But yeah, I mean, the way they made it seem, it looked like a pretty simple process. Just kind of take all the body panels off and weld in that new piece, and then off it goes, you know. So
your car was sitting at that shop for 6 months, and then the time that it took to get done, how long was everything until you finally got the car back?
Yeah, we're talking May, I think happened with my car like May 12th of 2020 till I literally got the back on February 2. February 2nd. So that's what,
8 months,
7,
10 months.
8, 9 months.
Yeah, so
that's pretty ridiculous.
Long ass time.
Yeah,
it's an expensive repair too.
Yeah, so I went through the body shop and I actually paid cash, and it was about a $9,000 repair. Had I,
Jesus Christ, that's gonna be a lot lower than what this man paid.
We'll get to that. My difference wasn't that much.
Oh really?
No.
Oh
it's
shit.
just the estimate was like we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to
yeah. So the total was around 9,000, give or take. Should this ever happen again, I would just, now I know what shop to go with and just have them do it. Apparently, it's a pretty normal thing with these cars to happen.
With the GT4s, I've seen more about the GT4 than the GT3 and the RS.
It's all GT4s online.
Yeah.
Maybe the way it's set up, or maybe the way the wheels are in the front, maybe narrower, it takes more of an impact. I don't know. Who knows? Well, I'm not an engineer by any means, but it's definitely plagued the GT4 community. I'm not sure if it's happened with the 718s, the new generation, but it would be interesting to see if there's anybody out there that's had this issue.
Yeah, and anybody who wants to. The thing is, like with the crank hub issue on the F80X, this is just an example. Is like, this shit happens to people over and over again, but they don't want to say anything because they don't want people to know that damage has occurred to their car, because when they go to sell it, they don't want it to be public knowledge. Like, hey, this fool strut tower already broke. Does it really matter? No, but people are strange like that when it comes to buying a car secondhand, to where they could be like swayed into not buying it over one that hasn't had this strut tower cracked yet.
I think especially Porsche cars, people are very finicky with them.
Oh yeah, you got any damage reported on your car? Like, your shit's
GG's minus
Yeah,
40% value.
Bumpers replaced. I already
Yeah.
know I'm not gonna get near a fucking clean VIN.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, but hopefully when that time comes, it'll be the right buyer that knows what they're getting into. I would think that with the new piece, I don't know if they remanufactured it to a different spec or that actual strut piece, but it would make sense if they made it a little thicker, or I would say it's a little bit more reinforced than when it came out of the factory,
Gotcha.
It's like a fresh piece.
Yeah. I'm not sure either if it's different part numbers or not, but that would be interesting to see. So your car's back. what is your remedy for it? What have you heard would be the remedy? Because you're dealing with a pretty experienced shop that you and I actually have only dealt with and have nothing but good things to say about them. But
Yeah, definitely. So it's, I mean, especially Dundon, shout out to Dundon Motorsports. They've brought out the solution. I mean, not just they're not the founders of the solution, but a lot of people have mentioned it. But especially Jamie at Dundon has said that exactly what we mentioned earlier about the struts, that the springs are too soft. So if you're going to be constantly tracking the car, it's a pretty good idea to get a stiffer spring and shock setup, for
also another thing they talk about is those dampers are really long.
Oh yes. Yeah, so those dampers are really long. So if they don't, when you shorten the height of the car,
there's not much left.
there's not much left for the actual shock to do its compression.
Yep.
So it's just, you kind of just
Has to go somewhere.
Yeah, putting the noose on it in a sense. But yeah, so going forward, I pretty much did what the recommendations are. My car's being handled over with Raceworks and Casey. We ordered MCS 3-way damper suspension.
Damn. My boy got money.
So shit. Cap. I don't have mine right now, but yeah, it's a shorter strut design. Everybody knows MCS is well known within the tracking community, I want to say.
In the race community too.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited to run those dampers on the car and see what it's all about. I'm just September 16th is
the debut, baby.
The debut, of GT4 2.0.
Hell yeah.
I was actually going to sell the car, because of all that happened, and then
had to talk to this man daily. Don't sell it. Don't sell it.
Yeah, I decided to keep it, and
it's such a beautiful car.
Yeah, it really is, man. And then just with the market right now, it was just like, I didn't want to pay ADMs, 100K over sticker and stuff like that. I was just trying to go with what I have and see what happens down the line,
Yeah, exactly. Well, good luck in your track day. I'm excited to see you out there again. It's been a while. You've been ducking the track for quite a bit of time now with your CSL and your LTW $1 million cars. But whatever.
Look, man, I'm not gonna track those cars when I have other track, even though they've seen the track. But they're like a once.
Adams doesn't count.
Adams doesn't fucking
count. I wouldn't even
bro.
take that car to Adams, dude. I'm straight. But yeah, they're like a once or twice track time, a year type of thing. Like more like a little.
No, I get you. I only tracked mine when I had to because this was in service or some shit. Right. Jason, let's hear it, bro. How did your experience go afterwards? And
so my timeline was, it blew in December. Got some good recommendations for a local Porsche certified body shop in Tustin here, Sterling Collision. They took the car early January. We had Super Lap Battle in February.
Yep.
So, they were on a time crunch, and I told them, then they were able to source the part, even though it was on a back order from Germany with a unknown ETA. But I guess, they were connected up. Then they got the part, got it on the jig, disassembled, waited for the part to come in, put it on, then we made it to Super Lap Battle. But
yours was pretty quick.
Yeah, they initially quoted me at $40,000 for the whole fix.
Jesus.
But then when the time came to pay the invoice, it was $14,000.
Okay.
And that type of caliber of a body shop, Sterling Collision, they're no slouch. When I was in there, you got Bugattis in there, top of the line McLarens, Lambos. They know their shit, and even some race cars doing a lot of body repairs on race cars. So
I remember I took my car there after Jason referred me there to get the rear bumper, and same thing. I saw Lambo SVJs, all kinds of crazy shit.
Really good customer service too. Really good guys
super
over
smooth
there.
People to deal with, and they were way ahead of schedule for me.
Exactly.
They were headed for you as well.
Sourcing wise, I think they're just so connected, they can get parts a lot faster compared to any other body shop.
Yeah, exactly. So you got yours fixed. You paid $14,000. What was your solution to the issue?
Just like with Danny, reached out to Jamie at Dundon, recommended some MCS. We went with the 3-ways, and at the same time, he threw on their whole aero kit for the .2 3RS. So
Jason Jason went all out right before Coda,
Mhm.
and I mean, a couple weeks later, maybe 2 weeks after getting your car back, you were back on the track.
Yeah, back on the track.
No issues.
No issues whatsoever. Then since then, I think I've put maybe almost 20 more track days on it, jumping curbs. I actually have the photo from Coda coming through after the S's to the back straight. The one of me jumping the car on the same exact side that the strut tower blew out on. So if that doesn't prove MCS is the way to prevent this, I don't think anything else will.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not just MCS, of course, but a higher
just better dampeners and spring rates.
I wouldn't even say higher. I don't want to say higher quality because the OEM dampers are really good, but with these aftermarket ones, they're smaller, better spring rates,
adjustability too.
Adjustability, for the clicking or for the clicks, rebound and compression. So, yeah, man. So I've driven his car too. I haven't driven Danny's, of course. Danny's track day's coming up, but I look forward to taking that on track.
Man, last time he drove my car, the clutch just didn't feel right after I got it
Yeah,
back.
I broke it in. I fucking broke it in.
Couldn't believe it.
I set the PB in this man's car my first time driving it. But yeah, Jason's car, driven it at Button Willow. Where else have I driven it?
I think that's it, right?
Yeah, that might be it actually. But I mean, I didn't have any concerns of hitting any curbs. That wasn't even in my mind when I was driving it, and car felt totally normal.
Actually, I have footage of you doing the exact same thing, coming down Phil Hill, eating curb, and you had MCS, and you were worried about,
Strut tower. Yeah, because it was a really hard hit. I'll insert the clip now of my car. Let's check it out. All right, so there it is. Very hard hit. You said it was like the same exact
thing I did.
On OEM
one for
suspension.
One. Correct.
Broke his shit. Mine's on MCS 2As. And it was a significant hit, but no issues. Not even bending the wheel, nothing like that. Just, it's quite a scare. It was really rough. But, so if you guys are in the market for a 991, 981 GT car, you really need to be aware of this issue if you're going to be tracking it, right? Street driving, I've seen people with GT4s hit potholes and break their shit, but most of the time this is just going to happen when you're tracking on the lowered OEM suspension. Other than that, I mean, I haven't really heard of too many people driving around and bam, totaling their car like that.
And the ones that are driving it on the street probably did have the lowered suspension as well on the stock dampers.
Some cars and coffee builds.
Coffee, baby.
For those speed bumps. I wanted to touch up on one more thing. I was researching to see if there's any kind of reinforcement that we can do to the strut towers, but there really isn't a remedy that exists, like, still as of now.
Well, take a look at mine, then, just by looking at it, there's not a lot of area you can do, but I think like a brace or something that they can add, like from the cup car and stuff like that. But that's like a whole different animal. Like you have to custom
weld it into the
fabrication,
cage and custom fabrication. But I'm hoping maybe down the line somebody comes up with some kind of remedy, kind of like the E46 M3. You know how they had the subframe issue, the rear axis quarter panel, and they did some kind of reinforcement plates. But obviously that took like 10 years after the car came out,
until they started actually cracking.
Right, and then people, I think once you start getting into second and third owners, people start breaking these cars down, and they want to engineer something up.
The serious R&D starts then.
So I mean, hopefully down the line, a few years from now, a lot of people might not want to shell out for MCS or an aftermarket suspension, but fingers crossed that there is some kind of reinforcement solution. Yeah,
and if you're going to track a GT car, which I highly recommend you do, even if you've never tracked before, I mean, these cars are designed for being on a racetrack. Even the GT3, not even the RS versions, not even just these, but the regular GT cars, these are designed for being on track. So I would highly recommend doing it.
Definitely.
And if you're in the market for one and you're looking to buy, you should also factor in getting that $6,000, $8,000 suspension as well, because you don't want to be forking out $9,000, 14 grand later down the line because you didn't spend the $6,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 suspension that you could have.
I would say think of it like it's actually gonna happen. So why not just fork it up front?
Preventative cost,
yeah.
you know.
Preventative, right?
Plus, when you sell the car, you
Yeah.
can part out the suspension and make some money back.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you're buying MCS or JRZ, that shit's gonna sell itself. You just put it out there, it'll sell. Everyone knows that those two brands, even Moton included, are the high-end suspensions that last a long time. They're not gonna break on you, and not only that, but the quality of the suspension is
spot on.
Very nice. Yeah. So, I got nothing else. You guys? That's it, guys. Have a good one. Thanks, Danny. Thanks, Jason.
Yep.
And
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.